Yeah, welcome to the IESF 2023. And you got me, Burger Kim, and of course, Rock Hard with you once again today for day number three. And the IESF, or the International Esports Federation, is the uniting body for esports. We already seen 2 days here of IESF, the Americas qualifiers, and of course today we'll be locking it in with another best of three, Argentina and Peru. How are you doing, Rakhar?
Doing great, and I am expecting some spicy MLBB action for today. We have seen Argentina, the lows of Argentina, and we've seen the highs of Argentina from the first day and the second day. So I wonder what we're gonna get here today. It is gonna be a best of three against Peru, and it should be something, right? Because I've been looking at the player list, and they've actually been familiar because I've also seen Peru actually. Some of these players have joined us in other international MLBB tournaments as well. So yeah, this is something I'm expecting to kind of just explode right out the gate.
Yeah, and today it is going to be again a best out of three. So Argentina, Peru. Argentina, yes, like what you mentioned, first 2 days you've seen their highs and lows, and of course we're getting closer and closer to see who will actually be on top of this qualifiers, and of course the team will be heading over to Romania this year, which is actually pretty exciting as well. If you think about it, it's top teams of MLBB heading over to Romania and battling it out to have the glory of being crowned as the champion of IESF eventually. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the matches today. And for Argentina, hopefully they can pull off another W here for today. I mean, they started strong yesterday, and once again they're opening today, hopefully with a bang.
Yeah, I mean, I think they really won a lot of hearts the way that they won the games that we've had yesterday. That was super duper interesting. Um, I think it's safe to say that if Argentina keeps that up, I mean they're definitely in a safe spot. But again, they have to kind of prove it out against Peru here. We haven't seen games of Peru here
Yeah,
today, or at least the roster they have yet. So this would be something. But from what I hear, Peru actually has a really strong. It should have like a really strong start already. So I wonder how they're gonna end this qualifiers as well. So we'll see that later on today.
Mhm. Yeah, they actually had matches in the previous days, but we haven't. Well, for our viewers, they haven't seen it just yet. I don't think it was. Well, it was more of like behind the scenes. So for me as well, this is going to be a treat because I haven't seen them. I haven't seen what they can pull off. And honestly, like a lot of people have been asking, how was it? How was the qualifiers in Americas? And I was telling them there's just so many things that I wanted to highlight, but what really stuck with me, rock hard, was the X-Borg. I think this is probably one of the few times that I've seen an X-Borg pick more than twice as the jungler for different teams in both days. So I don't know if we're gonna see it today between Argentina and Peru, or I don't know. Maybe it is a thing here in the Americas. I don't know about it, but it's quite interesting, right?
Yeah, let's have
Right.
a look at
So speaking of
Argentina's
that,
roster. Yeah, and we'll see who has maybe who's going to be using export here today. Obviously, we've seen Hide on Bush go with the Lancelots, but not sure whether or not the export's going to make a comeback. Although maybe Alpha. I mean, never lose hope, Burger Kim. There's always going to be an Alpha possibility in the jungle.
hide on Bush. Actually, I think for those of you guys who were able to catch the games, it was mostly Argentina. Actually, I think they really stuck with me because it was a Lancelot prio pick for Argentina most of the time. So there was one game where Haydon Bush actually just picked up the Tyrod. So other than that, it was like mostly Lancelot for the Argentinian roster. And hopefully for today, Xborg or maybe something different like what you mentioned, could be an alpha. In the jungle here for Argentina. Well, we haven't seen anything just yet, and definitely they pulled off a win yesterday. So hopefully they can just keep on trailblazing for today and eventually get this best out of three.
And here's the roster for Peru. So here we are. We're gonna see how they look. There you go. It's Steffa, Dragon, Harla, Joel Crew, and Quinn. There you go. So these are some of these are very familiar names, and I think they've gathered a lot of experience already internationally. That's also, I think, one of the reasons why they seem to be so ferocious, and they seem to be more, you know, more predominant in a lot of the games that they've
Mhm.
had.
You know what, Rockhart, was interesting about this? It's Harley and Quinn in the same team. I'm actually curious if it's like the mid Rome for Peru here. I mean, usually if you have IGNs like that, either like you played quite some time. I'm not so sure if it's a coincidence or whatnot, but yeah, that's quite interesting from Peru. Very creative names, like what I mentioned for the past 2 days, and it really gets quite interesting. We haven't seen Peru just yet, so let's see what they'll pull off here in this best out of three alpha. For me, if you're looking forward to an alpha Rockhart, I'm looking forward to maybe perhaps see something different entirely. I do want to see the Bane that has a very good win rate in ranked games, and the buff is really doing well for him. And hopefully, I want to see it being utilized here in the Americas qualifier.
Yeah, one thing's for sure. I believe that Eve and Novaria might still be highly contested. Novaria, maybe some players are just starting to really pick her up. Right, it's such a strong lane. Speaking of the heroes that dominate the rank games today, I mean that girl just easily just outplays a lot of the mages. I played the game yesterday where the Novaria actually
Mhm.
roams a lot on the bottom side and just goes through walls and throws long range artillery in your way, and it's very difficult to dodge out if the Novaria is really good. So uh, considering that these players that we've seen so far have a lot of potential in the mid lane, combined with Rose, I mean, Frost really did. He really did like show his. I would say the lowest possibility he had on day one and his highest potential on day two, because he really did was one of the reasons why we also saw the Argentina victory yesterday.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of. I like it. There's a lot of utility type of supports here. We've seen a Minotaur, we've seen an Estes. So hopefully for today, maybe perhaps like more setter tanks as well. We've seen an Atlas and a Kufra for the past 2 days, and we might actually see more of these today. And like when you mentioned the Novaria, right? A very flexible pick as well. One of the rising picks in. The current meta, and I think it's just a big factor, especially when it's team fights, right? Like there's just a lot of vision that the Novari can give, as well as the Eve. I think it will also be highly contested today, and or if not contested, maybe in the ban list for this best out of three.
For sure. I feel like Grok is huge coming into this one. Not sure if it's ban worthy, but definitely something that you have to think about when you are fighting against Argentina. Because I believe some of the Grok sets yesterday were just phenomenal. You don't even. It was some of them were long range Grok sets for the Wild Charge. So, super curious as to how we will see the games. Because right now, especially Peru, man. I want to see them really like go all out, so we can maybe have Argentina tested to their limits.
Yeah, and then you've seen the lineups that didn't really work out well for Argentina in day number one, and for Peru, maybe perhaps they could capitalize on that. Again, it will boil down rock hard to who will be on the blue side and who will be on the red side. I think that's also a very big factor, right? Like who's going to have the first pick and who's going to be on the red side, because there's a lot of possibilities, especially when you're first. You really dictate the tempo of the game. And as for the teams, right, this is something that they need, especially if you haven't gone up against them or you don't really have that much information about them. Yeah. So let's take a look at yeah, our teams are ready to go right now, and let's take a look at yeah, who's going to be the blue side and who's going to be red side. It is going to be Argentina on the blue side.
All right. There it is. So maybe we can also look at priority on the Valentina, by the way, which has fallen in favor in some regions, but starting to really, I believe here in this tournament overall, Valentina has still been a very strong first pick, or if not second pick, for all of our teams. And I don't blame him. I mean, Valentina, despite the nerfs on her in the previous patches, still really, really strong.
Yeah, her ultimate is a game changer. Oh, and yes, we talked about this. Valentina, high ground mages like the Eve really posed to be a problem yesterday in yesterday's game, just because of the AOE, just because of the slows, and there were nerfs given to the Eve as well. So I think, despite that, it's just too good in the meta right now, which. I think so far we've seen a lot of team fights, and the Eve it just really, really favors them. Quite surprising that this is actually the case, Rockhard, since Argentina's going to be on the blue side, so they can actually pick it up. So, not so sure what they have planned. Maybe they have they want to play like a dive type of composition, which they've done actually in the previous days. So maybe that's something that they're also considering. Valentina and Faramis is still open here if you want to go for those overextended team fights. So, still pretty much open
Yeah,
now unless it's banned away.
it's super interesting because from what I remember from some of the Peru players, they're actually super duper aggressive, and an Eve would have actually helped, right? It would have been so helpful to to control some of these dives, to control the aggression coming in from the Peru players. But no, the way that they're controlling the aggression is banning out heroes like the Lancelot, which yes, we did remember is one of the key heroes. If you also want to be really aggressive, want to be in your face on your opponent, is a great hero to ban out.
Yeah, it's ironic, right? That it's Argentina that bans this one away because, like what I mentioned, if you guys watched the previous days, it was Argentina locking in the Lancelot prio pick. So I think it's a comfort pick for the region, which is probably the reason also why they banned this away. Which means that there is actually a lot of heroes open here. Valentina is open not unless Peru is going to be banning that one away. I mean, if it's left open, pretty much like both teams can pick that up. Valentina Faramis, overextended team fights, and yeah, it's just gonna be brawl after brawl here. If that's gonna be the case, blue is also still an option open as well as the Arlot.
Yeah, interestingly enough, even a Kadita ban. Again, these
Mm-hmm.
are signs that Argentina knows that Peru wants to go aggressive, and you remove one of the most aggressive roamers, you got yourself a good deal. But on the other side, that's one of the fastest locks or one of the fastest
Right.
hovers I've seen today. I like it. I like it. If I like the idea of throwing in the Minotaur there, but I was maybe expecting a Faramis, maybe on the first
Mm-hmm.
pick. Wasn't really
Well,
expecting
they
a
haven't
Minotaur to
locked it
show up,
in
but they
yet.
haven't locked it in yet. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just something to like. I mean, if I were Argentina too, rock hard. I mean, there's just so many things open right now, right? What do you start out with first? And yeah, this is a very safe choice. I mean, if you can't pick, just pick up the Valentina. You can pretty much pick up all the ultimates that you want. So yeah, that's a solid start for Argentina, which means that Peru right now they're gonna have sec. I mean, I think for teams they still go with the Faramis, right? They still go with heroes like the Novaria, despite the fact that there's a Valentina. There were adjustments that were made to this hero, but still very, very solid. I like this from Argentina. You mentioned the Grok 2 Rockheart. I think this also might go in the first picking phase. So either Peru will steal it away, Argentina will pick it up for themselves. And now with the Valentina, I think this is going to take some extra time to pick up the heroes that they want.
Yeah, I'm not expecting a Moscow, but there is the Grok coming in there. I think Peru were watching some of the games yesterday, and they said, you know what, we can remove one of the strongest roam options from Argentina. Let's see how they're gonna react, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're also taking out a pretty solid gold laner, and so far in the tournament, I haven't really seen the Claude shine yet. But who knows
Mhm.
what Peru has up their sleeves, right?
Yeah, I mean, there is still the Melissa, right? Which seems to be a very popular choice. Had a very good run. I'm looking at Argentina here. I mean, if they want to be super greedy, they can still pick up the fire mist. Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say if they want to be
Whoa!
greedy, that is so good. That's a very greedy lineup. It's just calling for team fight after team fight, and what better way to shred apart? the lineup of Peru as well. Carry, I'm just not so sure how this will fare against a Claude Rockhart. I mean, this is a carry that still needs time, right? It needs time to scale up. It needs time to get the items. And I mean, as of like going up against the Claude, there's just so much more mobility for the Claude than the carry. So I'm not so sure about that, but pretty solid, right? Faramis Valentina for Argentina. Ooh, that rhymes.
Yeah, this is one way. This is one way that you can kind of just deny the
Mhm.
possibility of two teams having the cult altar at the same time. A very powerful ultimate from that Faramis that you. I actually tend to agree, but the Uranus. Oh my goodness, it's been a while since we have seen a Uranus in
Mm-hmm.
tournaments, and Peru's bringing it out.
Yeah, I mean the Ionic Edge was buff, but I mean it's good, right? For I mean I think it's more of like a rank game adjustment than an overall meta type of adjustment. I think it just takes more than that to bring back the Uranus in the XP lane. I think it's just more of like sustaining for the Claude, but again, there's a carry for the side of Argentina, so I'm not so sure how that will pan out for the Uranus, not unless they want to put either like the Uranus in the jungle, like super crazy idea, Uranus in the jungle, or maybe even the Grok in the jungle. We were still not so sure, but Peru is also taking away burst type of heroes like the Dyrot, maybe perhaps like Fredrin, but at the same time, we haven't seen so much of the Fredrins, mostly on the XP lane, ironically, because we've seen a lot of Fredrins in the jungle, but not so much in the XP lane. So I think this is probably one of the few times that I see the Fredrin being utilized in XP.
I mean, if we do see the Fredrin right now, especially if it's on the side of Peru, that is going to
Mm-hmm.
be one tanky, one tanky lineup with a Grok, with a Uranus. But most likely, it will go over to Argentina if ever it does get picked up. We do see that Akai was also a target of banning for some teams against Argentina, so maybe we could see that as well. Can add a layer of protection and more contention for these neutral objectives.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's gonna be super tanky. I think they can also be very aggressive if they pick up the friend in here for the side of Peru. But there's not gonna be that much damage, right? If you put up another tank, so they're just gonna go for a lot more damage. And the safest answer, I think, to the Valentina here, the Lilia, which I love seeing, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those heroes that you pick up when you really just want to deny any big ultimates from the Valentina. Although, if I were the Valentina here, I would just stick to the wild charge. I would just carry that ultimate all game long because it's still a really good one to pick up with a flicker with your IMU ultimate going into the wild charge. It's still really good, and you can do some follow
Mm-hmm.
up damage. You can terrify people, right? Although this is going to be interesting whether or not who is going to be the jungle. I don't know who's a good jungle pick here, but they do need some of that
Oh.
sustained damage. Oh,
Oh,
all
oh
right.
wait, Paquito. I thought they were gonna go for the Guinevere. I like that, like Shades of Black. That was so Shades of Blacklist International. If you think about it, like Guinevere, the Valentina Faramis, these are signature like yeah, Blacklist International heroes. But you know, looking at the lineup here of Argentina, very solid for team fights. They just again, like what I mentioned, right? Dive since all of these high ground mages are down, and they're hovering over two possible options. I'd love to see the Bane. But if you want to go for sustain, yep, those are all actually pretty good, right? Ooh, what's it
Yeah,
gonna be, Peru?
but like I said, I would love to see the Bane. Because they need
Mm-hmm.
maybe Alpha, something like that. Someone that can
Mm-hmm.
hit nonstop, right? They need someone that can do some sustained DPS. There it is, the Jungle Bane making an appearance
Yep.
today. And also Fams, I think, is his first game in the tournament. So this is also
Mm-hmm.
very interesting for Argentina. But yeah, Burger Kim, looks like you got your wish for the day. It is going to be a Bane, and it is on the jungle roll.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if they're listening to this live stream. I mean, it's just like throwing it out there. Like Bane is so good right now in the rankings. I think from like it was like in the bottom part of the pick list, right? In terms of rank games, and it just rose all the way up. Like I think it rose to probably like looking at the stats right now, it's probably one of the top 10 or top 15 most picked heroes in ranked games. And the win rate has also improved very well. So I'd love to see this being used by Peru actually. And They have a very solid side as well, like Uranus. I think it's still pretty solid, right? But it just doesn't fit the meta right now. We're in. It's just all about the burst. Like I think this was like patches ago, still Rockhart. Tamas and Uranus in the XP lane. So I don't know. How do you feel about that lineup in the XP?
Well, it's actually a big throwback to me, so that's
Mhm.
gonna be a very
Right?
dead lane for sure. But welcome everybody. This is gonna be game one of the best of three between Argentina and Peru. Let's find out whether or not these jungle picks are gonna be effective on both sides. We haven't seen Paquito in the jungle in a while, and probably one of the first times we also see Bane on jungle. Right now, a lot of pressure coming in for both sides, and the top lane definitely I'm keeping an eye on Hay, who has been a key player
Mhm.
for Argentina
Mhm.
in the past few days.
Yeah, I mean, hey, on the Melissa this time. Actually, I'm surprised they didn't pick up the Melissa here. Well, it just goes to show that they also answered out to Peru's first two picks, right? Grok. They also picked up the Uranus, so the carry just makes so much sense right now. There's the retribution from that Bane. Goes in with the deadly catch, and Fur will be the first blood here drawn in by Peru. And actually, just fun fact here, Rockhart, that's those are Chinese characters on the Bane. It's actually read as Quian. It's Quinn, like literal translation of Queen in Chinese. Fun fact.
All right, so yeah, that's a very good that's a very good thing to know. Just to make sure that is Quinn, right? So thank you for the
Yeah, I had to
confirmation,
double
Virgo.
check. I think it was just all
Yes.
made for this. Me studying Chinese just to read all the IGNs of these players. Because I was wondering, right? Like, we saw the lineup, we saw the roster here of Peru. I was like, where's Quinn? And then I checked the name of the band. I'm like, oh, so that's Quinn. So he's the jungler of Peru.
That is so cool, right? I mean, maybe that's just Quinn flexing that he also knows Mandarin, maybe. So far so good. I
Yes.
think we will see a big fight happening right now. All players are close to level four, especially the junglers. So yeah, it's gonna be a big dance around it. A lot of importance going in. Stefan with a wild charge. Actually, very tanky, but also
Mhm.
everyone's just going nuts right now. And that is gonna be Peru going back as Argentina makes a very strong contest on the turtle.
Yeah, that's gonna be Hide on Bush picking up that first turtle of the game. Nice play coming in from Meteoro. He actually stole the deadly catch. I was confused for a while. I was like, "What? There's a deadly catch in the cult altar of the Faramis, right?" And it's a good thing for Argentina that they were able to take down the jungler before the turtle even started. So a big win for them. A little bounce back after that first blood that was actually taken in by Quinn. So for both sides right now, they got what they wanted. We also have to look at the XP lane matchup here. Seems to be doing well. I mean, Dragon just has that Avarice emblem, so you really want to make sure that you're sticking towards this Thamas of Arctic that yeah, pretty much can sustain whatever this Uranus is throwing out.
Yeah, and so far it's all about sustain on the bottom side, but definitely the FAMS is looking like it's the one who is taking more dominant pose right there because obviously of the early damage that you can get, unlimited passives coming in from that FAMS has been great at zoning out a lot of players here from Peru, at least for the early game. Maybe that can change in the late game, but right now Argentina looking really good. And there's also a reason why the Paquito is a really good pick, right? It's the as long as you stack on penetration items on this hero, no one's actually safe, not even a Grok. So I understand why Argentina picked that up, and if they can keep
Mhm.
this up, they're on track to have a really good mid game as well.
Yeah, looking at the emblem of Hide on Bush, it's a high and dry Paquito. Did go for the jungler emblem. Any thoughts on this? Like, I've seen the Paquito on the high and dry, so Paquito's role was also adjusted to fighter assassin. I mean, it's crazy. I've gone up against Paquitos that can just two shot you with with its ultimate, and you're just out of the you're just out of the land of dawn. So high and dry, I think that's a big factor as well in ganks for Argentina, right? Like it's gonna be a damage item Paquito once it has like what you mentioned the penetration items here. It should be very deadly, especially up against Bane, Lilia. These are heroes who also love to dive. So Paquitos is just such a good answer here from the side of Argentina.
Yeah, that's also a big reason why I think that is a good idea to pick up on the Paquito, because you also have a Grok on your opponent, right? So the Grok normally is a very tanky hero even without itemization. So right now, if the Grok doesn't build those physical armor items, the Grok's gonna go down, right? Especially since we normally see a Grok invade solo, just try to put up those guardian barriers. I feel like it's gonna be very easy for the Paquito to clear that up, and also we also have to think about the ganks that a Paquito can do on the bottom side of the map. You're also thinking about a Uranus. You normally the Uranus also likes to go solo, try to go for those cuts really deep into the lane behind the turret. So obviously that's a place where it's very difficult to provide the backup, and the assassin emblem is a great option actually. Not only does it add more penetration, it can also just increase your damage if your opponent is alone, and that's very important against Uranus. So I love that, and these small changes instead of having a demon slayer emblem is actually really good.
Yeah, Dragon and as well, right? Forcing Arctic to go back, and you can kind of see Dragon here just popping in that Ionic Edge as much as he can, and it actually does help as well. Like Avarice Emblem, you want to maximize that as much as possible. And oh, actually, you know what? I noticed something about Argentina here too. It's Arctic on the XP lane, actually not on the roam, right? So oh wait, no, yes, it's Arctic, yeah, on the XP lane. So it's is that fur on the roam here for Argentina? I think I'm not so
Yeah.
sure if they had like some roster changes, but yeah, doesn't really matter right now for Argentina. They're looking really strong and are answering out to whatever Peru's doing. But that solo kill bottom side for the side of Peru, it was a solo kill onto hide on bush, and we're seeing a two-man rotation here from Peru. They're gonna try to push this
Oh,
as
make
much as
that
possible.
free.
They can definitely sandwich Arctic here. There's a vengeance. Dragon soaking up all the damage and still able to survive that one. Finally, Peru draws in two kills there on the bottom side.
Yeah, and we are starting to see why, right? Quinn picked up that Bane on the jungle. There was basically nowhere for Arctic to actually make a play, and they got punished so hard because of it.
Yeah, it's the second turtle of the game here, Rockhart. Speaking of punish, right? Argentina has to bounce back from that one. Two kills were picked up, and once again, second turtle goes to their side. And speaking of Fur here, yeah, this is actually a new player, so he wasn't able to play. He's actually a sub for Argentina.
Yeah, and that's actually really good if you think about it. Just throw out your lineup, make sure that it's going to be very unpredictable. And what impressed me is actually the role swap there a little bit. So yeah, I'm definitely looking for maybe a small change in the Argentina the style that they play. So watch out for that, guys, if you are a big Argentina fan.
You Civ was the type of roamer that's very aggressive, but they can be very aggressive here as well. Here's the cult altar. There's the kill on to Quinn, and now Steph is gonna get taken down as well. Double kill picked up by Hyde on Bush. And Rockhart, you mentioned the Paquito getting in damage items. That's gonna be the Hunter Strike. Mid lane tower is down as well, but fortunately enough for Peru, they take in the tower on the top side, equalizing things right now. But as of the gold lead, right, it's not that far. Still, Peru can catch up, but I like how this game is going as to compare to the previous games of Argentina, where it was just super fast paced, super aggressive, and now it's a little bit more safe and contained. Look at the damage Bush is doing on a Grok.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen the full potential of this Paquito yet, but yes, once you add in those physical penetration items, you are seeing that this is definitely a very, very scary Paquito, especially now that they have a bit of a lead here. If you are behind in items against a Paquito that has physical penetration items, you don't build up those armor items yet, you're gonna have a hard time. It's actually a good thing that they build up a steel leg plates just to try to catch up. But even with this, I feel like Argentina's got a pretty sizable lead even in the jungle.
I think Highland Bush is building an early BOD. That should be a BOD, right? Being picked up by the Paquito, and you've seen the
Yeah.
damage that it has done. And so far, they can definitely do all these dives. They got the Faramis here, they got the Valentina here of Meteoro, so they shouldn't worry so much about the clashes that if ever Peru will initiate. But at the same time, right, they have to convert here for Argentina. They are winning, they are leading with 2K, but it seems like Peru is also answering it out with tower takes. Another one down there on the bottom side, care of Joel crew.
At the very least, it's not going to be as easy of a game to finish, even though you do have a huge lead, because of the amount of wave clear and solid heroes that Peru has. If we go, speaking of solid, that's not a very solid. Harlan just going down without a fight, not even able to pop those black shoes.
That's what you get with a Paquito, right? Double knock-up strike there. Just enough to take even the tankiest heroes, and that's just quite frustrating for Lilia, right? Like you can pretty much sustain, click that black shoes, get your HP back up. But Hiram Bush right now just proving to us that those damage is just too much, and Dragon as well will fall down the hands of Peru, and slowly but surely they're actually converting all these kills one by one right now, and it's pretty much something that they need as of the moment before the first lord of the game is up.
It's a huge advantage. This threat of a cult altar nonstop coming in from Argentina just makes it so difficult for Peru to get kills, even though most of their heroes are basically designed for mid to late game punishment. They're not able to really pull these off because they were denied that Faramis. So if you think about it, the Faramis power play on the draft is hugely advantageous for Argentina.
Yeah, plus this is the type of lineup we're in. The Faramis just builds um it just builds to be a tank, right? So that's a dominance ice, cooldown boots on the Faramis, four-man gank there on the top side, Arctic the one to fall, but well all that is happening. Look at how fast Hydron Bush is chunking on that lord. This is soloing that lord there. And that should be no contest at all for the side of Peru. But instead, they choose to take in towers. I don't know, Rockhard. How do you feel about this? Like, just tower takes here. I think this is the best thing that Peru can do as of the moment.
I mean, I have to agree. I mean, I guess Peru thought, you know what, guys, we'll take what we can get. And they can get that. I think that's the only time they can actually get that turret, at least for the moment, because Argentina just has presence all over the map. So if you see free gold, just take it slowly, inch by inch, one by one. You take these towers down. You don't need any big wombo combo push. Just try to get as much gold as you can into that Claude, into that Bane, and you can try to win yourself a team fight. Although, again, I have to say, it's going to be very difficult for them. That
Mhm.
Cult Altar is a big threat from Argentina.
Yeah, I was telling you, if they want to be extra greedy, right, they can pick up that Faramis, and it's proving to work so well in their lineup. And speaking of the gold lead, right, look at Hay. He's actually the
Oh,
richest guy here for Argentina. That's not gonna look good, right? Hay, a key player for the side of Argentina, standing at a 202 on the carry, almost complete items
whoa!
as well. There's the knock-up strike. There's the cult altar. And Joel Crew, the first one to fall. Here comes the minion waves as well. Dragon gonna be able to sustain with that consecration. Not so sure if he's gonna be able to do that 1v1 up against Arctic, but that's a lot of pressure from the Argentinian team. They're looking to end this one before Peru. They just want to extend this even further, not let this end as early as possible. But Argentina, I like the discipline they have as well. They back away from that one, even though they do have the upper hand in this 11-minute mark.
And I love that they did that. You don't really need to be greedy. You don't need to try to finish it right away, especially if you know that there are a lot of wave clear heroes on the side of Peru. And this is exactly what I said earlier. Argentina can try to push as much as they can, but there are a lot of wave clear heroes on the side of Peru, so they need to deal with these first before they attempt to touch that base. It is going to be an uphill battle, But if they can inch it slowly, if they don't become too greedy, I mean, that's the way that Peru can kind of make a comeback. But I don't think that's going to be a likely possibility right now. As you mentioned, hey, he's on the road to level 15 right now. His itemization is through the roof as well. I think that's almost all the items that you want from a carry.
7K for the side of Argentina, and I think that gold lead is all going to Hay at as of the moment. It's good that Hay, like what I mentioned, right? The carry doesn't have that much mobility, just a sidestep, just a flicker. But I think Hay is extra confident here too because there is the cult altar of the Faramis of Fur, and if you can see, it's actually Fur rotating here with Hay most of the time, making sure that their gold laner is alive. The locking up on this Lord for Argentina. And I think there shouldn't be any contest at all for Peru. Maybe perhaps they just want to take in some of the towers, making some plays here. They don't really have that much of a hard CC, especially for Steph. We're still looking for that nice wild charge, but then again, they still have to consider here the cult altar of the Ferrymids, right? So it's not so easy to just set up the place here for Peru. They have to take down this Lord first. 30 minutes in, and it's still Argentina on the driver's seat. No inhibitors left here, Rockhart. I think Harlan
Oh,
DD in big trouble as Hiram Bush gets in that two knockup strikes, instantly takes her down. That's massive. That is the wave clear on the side of Argentina, and now the color is going to be popped in. Dragon! First one to fall, Blazing Duet, but Joel doesn't do much as of the moment, and now it's only Steph left to defend. They're locking in the base here for Argentina, and they take it. Game number one.
and that is exactly what I would expect from a lineup that is essentially, it actually is very greedy, but man, they pull it off to the maximum. I love it. And honestly, there were opportunities for punishment, but yeah, Argentina did not give any of those away. This is interesting, right? Because you rarely see these combos of a Valentina and Faramis. It's normally a very strong duo in the late game, but lots of players struggle with it in the early game, trying to juggle out. Obviously, the Faramis is not the tankiest hero in the early game, but yes, you can get a lot of uptime if you are able to time it correctly, and if you're maximizing your passive, you can always stay on the fight. And yes, this is the option if you want to go aggressive. And boy, oh boy, Argentina, they did show up aggressive, and they did not let Peru have any room to breathe.
Yeah, and it's also quite interesting, right? Like the fire mist was left open, like right after the Valentina. So I think it was more of Peru, like double thinking if they should pick up that fire mist. But you know what? Argentina was like, we saw the possibility of the Valentina and Faramis, and they just took it, right? Despite the fact that Peru actually picked up the first blood in that game, it actually went to their jungler. So it went to Quinn. So it was actually a very good start for Peru. Unfortunately, the big problem there was always the cult altar. It's the Grok can't really set up the place just yet. Like you don't know when the cult altar is available. You don't know when it's up. Plus the fact that Hay was completely left untouched, right, or completely left unchecked in his lane because most of the time you see Quinn and the rest of the members of Peru actually putting their focus on Arctic in the XP lane.
Yeah, that's very crucial. Let's watch the replays here, and we'll see exactly how that turned out. I mean, level one, it was like
Mhm.
very obvious that the Bane would get first blood. That's normally how it happens when you see a Bane in the jungle. Very strong early on, very low uptime, very low downtime on his skills. But yeah, after that, the moment that Argentina started grouping up, it proved to be a very difficult lineup to actually deal with. All Arctic had to do was just try and buy time until the whole team could be activated. Especially, hey, look at that! This is a 5 minute engagement. You can already see that Hay is almost untouchable in these scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, care of all the turtles that Hiram Bush was able to take, right? It's just gave him so much opening, plus the fact that Peru wasn't able to rotate that much in the gold lane, so it gave really so much room for Hay in that entire match. And if I was Steffi, I would actually be frustrated as well. Like it's difficult to pop in that wild charge, and at the same time, right? There's just a lot of burst damage coming out from Argentina, plus the sustain as well. So you'd really have to think it through if you want to pop in that wild charge. But this was actually one of the fastest gates that we've seen actually so far in the entire qualifiers.
Yeah, so far it's been on par, right around that minute, and I think the biggest catalyst for that is, man, Harley got picked off so early in that last minute. He actually it was so critical for the Lilia to survive just because he was that one who was actually in charge of the wave clear. I mean, some of the heroes, I mean, Bane obviously had some wave clear, but the Lilia is so crucial, right? And I think that missing out on that Harley really was so critical. And imagine a lineup that doesn't allow a Lilia to go back with the black shoes, and even if he did go back, he got bursted immediately. So a big props to Peru for crafting up on that one. Sorry, to Argentina for crafting up a lineup that can deny even a Lilia from surviving.
Yeah, I was talking about the high and dry, right? It's just made so much difference for the Paquito. And if you guys saw that instant replay earlier, like two hits from the Paquito, like for Holly, like you couldn't really do much as of the moment. And I do like that Lilia up against the Valentina, but again, this was just too much. There's a lot of objectives given to Argentina in that game, so let's see how Peru will bounce back from this one as we head over into game number two. Pick and ban. Let's see if it's going to be Argentina or Peru on the blue side, and or Peru this time on the blue side.
All right, let's see how Peru is going to deal with the blue side pickings here. And there's going to be a glue ban, just making sure that you don't have a hard time with that. The Faramis ban is actually really good if you think about it for Peru, knowing that Argentina can pull it off so flawlessly. There was barely any mistakes being made by the Faramis on the side of Argentina. And I think, yeah, it's a very good idea to ban it out. You also have to think about the Valentina once more. Again, I expect the Valentina to be picked up 100% either on the picks or on the bans today. So, um, big possibility of Peru picking that up as well. But we did see the wild charge, man. Even without the wild charge on Frost this time around, I think they can really maximize a Grok pick. So I think a Grok is going to be a huge thing to think about. Peru, are they willing to ban it out? That's a question.
Yeah, they are on the blue side, which means that they want to get some of these really good heroes. Kaja, won the ban. The high ground mages are once again up. Valentina or the Eve. Which one is it going to be? Peru. That's I think one of the biggest problems as well. If you're on the blue side, is there's just so many good picks. You don't know which one to go for first. The Arlot as well is often overlooked, as well as the Novaria that we haven't seen. So much just yet here in the qualifier. So I think for Peru, perhaps like the very safe choice here is to go for the Valentina, right? I mean that's really the best option as of the moment. And usually most of the teams, we don't really want to show what you have up your sleeve. Valentina is just the best way to go.
Yeah, Valentina will get picked up, as we can see. Very crucial to kind of think about whether or not this is going to be a big deal, because you also have to think about that if you're Argentina, right? What if the Valentina steals the wild charge? So that kind of threatens your Grok
Mhm.
pick as well. You don't want to give away such a beautiful ultimate to Valentina, and that's also a big reason why a lot of our teams, they love picking up this hero on first.
Yeah, it's just making Argentina double think it first if they want to go for like a someone that has a lot of kit. The Eve can be so lethal as well, but instead heavy spin here from the Yakai. The I go away from the Melissa isn't really that much of an impact for the Valentina. They haven't revealed their mid laner just yet, so I think they might actually think it through in the next few picks that they will have. But this is looking pretty solid for the side of Argentina. Akai for the setups, and the Melissa as well. That Hay is just so comfortable with.
First, the Rome, right? In the previous game.
Mhm.
So this is going to be a Rome Akai? That's interesting. I think that
I'm not
is
so sure if they'll
again, one of the
switch it
big,
up.
yeah, there's a big ultimate coming in from the the Argentina side for sure. So I would love it if the Valentina really does pick that up. But on the other hand, it's not as tanky as an Akai. You know, you are still a mage, so these are things you have to think about when you're making an entrance. So I think Peru still needs a very solid frontliner, a very solid
Mhm.
roam, and those are things that Argentina can ban out in the coming second phase draft.
And Peru's looking pretty solid here for the early game. I mean, Martis, right, and Valentina, these can be very aggressive in the first minutes of the game. And they completely overlooked the Arlot as well, getting some of their comfort picks here for Peru. And that's twice. Claude twice in a row for Peru. And actually, there's just not a lot of information, but I think Argentina's just banning away the heroes that Peru has used in the previous round. One of them being the Uranus, actually in the XP lane that can definitely dive in the tower, soak up the damage for their side, and Peru as well going to be limiting the options here of hide on bush.
All right. Interestingly enough, Fanny still making an appearance on the ban, but I love what I'm seeing here from Harla. I think this Valentina pick is huge money, just because you are going to be getting a lot of primo ultimates, considering that you can do a flicker, final slash, a flicker, everything, a flicker heavy spin, and this is just so good. I mean, Harla's gonna have a great game here for sure. So I wonder how Argentina's gonna trade that off, making sure that you don't get an Eve. That's a good priority pick for Peru, but there's still a lot of good mages left open.
Are they going to answer that with the same thing that Peru did in game number one, Lilia? Or maybe, if they're okay with it, like Farsa, right? But wow, Argentina. I'm not okay. Here's the thing. I'm not so if they do lock this jawhead, it might actually be like a jungler Akai, right? But yeah, the next best option is gonna be the Farsa. I think these were the mages that were taken out in game number one, and finally they do make their appearance once again. It's a screaming team fights for both sides here. I mean, it's for Peru. This is looking to be a lineup that's pretty good for the early game. They still need a good roamer here. There's really not much front line just yet, not much CCs just yet. Maybe just the Terizla. But wow, Peru. No, they're not going to go for the CC. They're not going to go for the team fights. Instead, they go for something sneakier instead. Natalia, that I haven't seen for quite some time. I think the last time I've seen this was like a few seasons, a few patches ago, and it's just going to be proved it's just proving to be very deadly as well for the Farsa and the Melissa. I'm not so sure if this will work against the Melissa, especially when she has the ultimate up. I've never seen that though, so I haven't seen that.
Yeah, Natalia Rome is a huge pick in other countries. I believe
Hmm.
more of like more of the Asian countries, right? Like Myanmar, like
Hmm.
Cambodia. So these are actually really solid. So, oh, Hilda is a an
Matilda.
interesting pick there. So that's gonna be in Hilda Rome. So that's not the most solid roamer pick here. Obviously, we're still gonna have Akai on Hide on Bush. I think they swapped it out. So, not so sure about what I'm seeing. I think that the Peru just crafted a pretty much a glass cannon lineup. We are going all out. We don't need tankiness. Their main tank is actually a Terizla here, so uh, this is basically Peru going for broke. They're giving out everything, pulling out all the stops, while we see Argentina have a more balanced lineup with the Akai tankiness. And obviously, the Matilda can save a lot of people who are having problems. So let's find out what's going to happen in the game as we load up into game number two between Peru and Argentina. Argentina right now currently on match point.
Wow, Matilda. The last time I've seen this was, I think Matilda was such a popular pick, especially when it first came out, right? Like it was just so good. I think for a lot of seasons, for the longest time, it was in the meta. It's actually one of the least picked supports as of the moment when you check out the stats. And I personally have tried this Matilda. It's still good, but what is really difficult about this is the nerf on the second skill. There's really not a lot of shields that you can give. The longer cooldown actually just makes a lot of difference here for the Matilda, when to pick up that guiding wind and making sure that it should be used at the right time. But as for Peru, right, this is a lineup that can really, really pressure in the side of Argentina right now, that is already on a match point and looking to get this once again with a clean sweep, continuing their streak from yesterday. But if Peru is able to pull this off, if Steffi is able to pressure in the jungler here, as you can see, he's already rotating all across the map right now, looking for his target. Unfortunately enough, right, for the jungler here of Argentina, he is still pretty tanky, so that's not going to be his main target. But mostly, I think it's going to be Meteoro and Hay for this particular match.
That's true. I think if you are picking up a Matilda, you have to roam up as much as you can, try to inflict as much damage to the jungle as possible. But looks like Hydon Bush is not really having that much of an issue. His farming is basically on schedule, and even Meteoro, without the ultimate, still proving to be a threat here in terms of roaming. Now, who's going to take the first turtle of the game? That is a big question. We have four members from each team on the bottom side of the map, but obviously more control coming in from Peru. There's going to be, oh, there it is, Arctic going in from the back, and High Dawn Bush already popping that heavy spin, but no, it's still going to be going over to Peru for first blood as well as a turtle to boot. That's two kills actually make that three happening for Peru so far. Man, it has been a disastrous early game for the red side.
Wow, this is crazy. This is a Martis that is standing on a 2-0-0, and if this keeps up, this is not going to be easy for Argentina, especially in the first part of the game, the early stages of the game, right? If this Martis keeps on going like this, I mean, you see Kin actually invading the jungle side here of Argentina, denying them of their resources just 3 minutes in. 1 minute, there's always like one kill, so that's just massive here for Peru. If they keep this up, they should be able to pressure a lot of Argentina. I mean, the biggest problem that they had in game number one was because a lot of the resources were taken in by Argentina.
And this is exactly what happens when you have a Natalia roam. You just give the opponent so much to think about. So right now there are still fights happening. Fair with a kill on the Joel crew. I think there will be a bit of an answer back though on top side of the Harley, just making sure that he has that heavy spin, try to disrupt the Matilda. So we're still gonna see an even trade even for that one. But the time the Joel crew goes down maybe is gonna be enough for Hay to get a little bit of an advantage on the top side of the map. And as you can see, even Stefan just making sure he can try to survive as much as he can. But nope, there was going to be the final slash. Oh, that's a lot of damage coming in from the Martis. Going to be making it out in time before the Decimate comes through, though.
Yeah, I love this Martis pick. We haven't seen it for quite some time. It's just shining so far in the current patch. So this is just pretty still the way that Peru wants to play this, right? It's good. They got the turtle, they got in a lot of pressure on the side of Argentina, actually denying a lot of the jungle creeps from the side of Hydon Bush. Nice zoning there by Dragon. Let's see who will take the turtle. And it is going to be Argentina this time, taking it for themselves. And Ken on a killing spree there, forcing Hay to back away, just giving a lot of room here for Joel crew. And this is something that they didn't do in game number one, knowing that Hay is one of the key players here. And now we see it. Kin, a little bit of overextension there, gets shut down by the Argentinian team. So this is good enough for now because they've got that shutdown goal up against Peru.
Yeah, they really threw a lot of resources on that top side of the map. But so far, at the very least, Hide on Bush isn't being phased by anything that's happening. That goal lead is actually around less than 1k, so it's still pretty good. But Peru definitely looking a lot better compared to where they were in game number one.
That's the corrosion side picked up as well by Hay. This is going to be quite a lot of pressure, especially you see that Argentina as well. They know for a fact that Peru knows that their winning condition is going to be their goal laner here when it comes to the late game. And you see them actually putting in a lot of their resources here on the top side, three-man rotation. But fortunately enough for Argentina, they actually are controlling the bottom side as well, like 1v1 up against Dragon. So far it is just them dueling. So it's not gonna be that much of an impact, not unless there is another one to join in the party. There is Hey Iron Bush here on the bush right now, doing a 2v1 up against Dragon, still able to sustain all of that thanks to the Festival of Blood Emblem. And now, Peru. I like this coming in from them. They're very aggressive this time, and it's proving to work really well for them. And goal lead not that far. As for Argentina, they can keep up if they take this last hurdle of the game.
You know what's interesting? Even though free Quinn is on a free 1-1, still basically the same gold as Haidon Bush. I think it's only
Mhm.
like 100, 200 gold difference. I know where Haidon Bush gets all these golds, man. He's probably stealing it from the coin crab, but yeah, he's looking really good so far in the Akai, and they also have better control. Harley, very early heavy spin. We got a Beyblade battle here, ladies and gentlemen. With Quinn will still be the one who secures that turtle, and it's going to be kills after kills here, as that's going to be the next target here for Argentina. Stefan with a kill on the flare, and I think that makes two for Haidon Bush. Still a very solid lineup that we see. Still three members alive for Argentina, but Dragon making sure that he can get some damage done, going in with that penalty zone. And Arctic might be in trouble here. Hey, going down as well to the tower. Steffi on top side. And we are not done yet, ladies and gentlemen. Meteora with the answer back, clap back in the Farsa, and we're finally gonna see the end here. So far, 1K goal lead will separate these two teams.
That's crazy, right? Steffi with the Natalia, and it's just so good as at the moment. There is the Heptases perhaps going in for either the Malefic Roar or the BOD here for Natalia. So it's just really difficult, especially if you're Hay or Meteoro. You just have to, you don't really have that much of a vision here for Argentina. So it positioning really matters, especially for the Farsa and the Melissa. So they just for these two damage dealers on the side of Argentina, they really have to rely on the shields here of the Matilda for just giving them vision, giving them that additional sustain when it comes to the clashes. Plus, Steffi's just all across the map right now. He has the execute, by the way, so pretty much like one or two hits, especially on Hay, right? Like it's enough to burst these heroes down.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we are still seeing. I would say both teams actually have even amounts of power in terms of map control right now. So no one's actually a clear cut winner in that regard. But as time is passing by, I feel like we're slowly seeing Dragon become more comfortable on the Terizla, and we're also seeing more confidence coming in from Quinn here. Although right now, Hay is making sure that they're not too comfortable, throwing out some of that zoning going in to that jungle.
As the retribution used in by Kin. So 13 seconds before it is up, and right now for Argentina, they know this very well. Half HP on the Lord, and Kin has so far gotten in a lot of the objectives for the side of Peru, and they know very well for a fact that this is going to be something big. And Dragon, able to sustain all of that, gets the penalty zone onto Meteoro. The shutdown, that is massive. Here is the heavy spin on Hide on Bush. Hayes the next one to fall. And here comes a blazing duet from Joel Crew, ripping everyone apart, forcing the members of Argentina to back away as they make their way to this Lord. This is the problem now for Argentina, right? The Natalia of Steffi, that is just a proving to be a major problem for Meteoro. And hey, you can just execute them at any given time. Plus, it's just giving so much vision for the side of Peru, which is what makes it difficult for them to position well in team fights.
From a 1K up to a almost 3K, 4K goal lead here. Coming into Peru, they made a huge power play around that Lord area, and they were rewarded for it. Now they are going to be the ones who have the big minions. There are a lot of also standing outer turrets on the bottom side and the top side of the map. So that's a lot of gold that they can potentially get with this Lord minion wave. So that's going to be critical to watch out for, Stefe. Still looking to see if he can make some sort of assassination, some pick off, maybe on Hay. maybe on a Meteoro, but no, that's not going to be allowed by Argentina, at least for the meantime. Now, there goes all of those turrets. The gold lead is starting to kind of stabilize, still grow here. It's only level 1 Lord, but it's going to be enough for Peru to take up a lot of these turrets.
And if you look at the items here, Rockhart, that's a lot of building towards the anti-cuirass. I mean, even Hayes, Melissa here is forced to build in that dreadnought armor or the going towards that anti-cuirass just to counter out the physical damage, especially since dragon has been popping in those penalty zone and Steffi as well, popping in the ultimate there of the Natalia just to get them down. There's Harley Didi getting taken down there by Hyde on Bush. Great pick off there by Argentina. They take what they can get and exit as of the moment. So that's pretty good. It actually balanced out the gold a little bit, but still Peru on the driver's seat, 5K gold lead. And now here's the biggest question: what do they do? How can they convert this lead even further? As Argentina, they might actually look to get in more towers as of the moment.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of standing gold that's available for the taking for Argentina. So there goes one of them on the top side. So you're right. It's actually very critical to watch those search. That's main source of gold that's going to be happening here for Argentina. Aside from the kills, possibly they will get Dragon. Oh my god, that's the main frontliner of Peru going down almost without a fight. You saw how quickly Dragon actually evaporated in that game, in that fight rather.
Oh no, now Arctic as well. He's able to sustain in, but not for long. There is the life steal. He's still alive, but gets taken down there by Harley DD. And there's the four-man rotation here on the mid side. Nice pressure, nice aggression being shown here by Argentina as they chunk down this tower. Down massive for them because they haven't taken anything as of the moment.
Oh!
Joel Crew! Wow, that was the Inspire picked up by Hay in the nick of time. That was a blazing duet. And at the same time, like Steffi just doing his job very well, assassinating the backlines here, which is really the struggle of Peru in all of the clashes because you just don't know where Steffi is. And it's almost all the time, like these three deaths of Hay and Meteoro, it's Kira Steffi.
Yeah, and they're on the hunt right now. Oh my goodness. I think Steffi was so critical in making sure that, there was at least a clapback for all the aggression that Argentina is doing. But now we're almost even on the kill score, and we're also kind of even on the gold here. So there's no telling what's going to happen here. Argentina has proven that they can actually take quite a beating. As long as Stefan doesn't like immediately destroy someone, catches him off guard. So looking really good for both sides so far. I would say this Lord will be the biggest coin toss here. Who will get this Lord, the second Lord of the game?
Now there is the feathered airstrike there by Meteor. Once again, gets spotted there by Kin. It's still up right now, and hey, the first one to fall. That's massive for the side of Peru. Meteoro as well, a double kill for Harley Didi, and now Hide on Bush as well, unable to do anything about the attacks here at Joel Crew, and that is going to be Peru once again in this major objective of the game. Lord is going to their side without any contest at all, and all they need to do is just force out the team fights here for Argentina, and they are again able to successfully take this one up for themselves.
Yeah, as you can see, Arctic just having a hard time just moving here. So you're seeing immediately what the lineup of our Peru is actually capable of. We are seeing a lot of very heavy hitters, and even a hero such as this can't really sustain. So the Arlot usually is a very tanky hero, even with a tenacity emblem, right? So that just goes to show that Peru is starting to really get into their groove. Also starting to build up that goal lead now at 5,000 almost. And here's the itemization. In terms of gold, in the gold laners, it's not that far, but you
Mhm.
can really feel the intensity of the engages coming in from Peru here.
Plus the fact that there's a dreadnought armor being forced by Steffi there on Hay. So that's one item out of the Melissa, right? So it's just forced to build in these defense items as well to counter out all the damage coming out from Peru, which is pretty much what Peru wants, right? Like Hay is pretty much contained as of the moment, not really doing that much damage. And it is just crazy how Peru was able to make this work up until, yeah, going mid to late game. It is still them on the driver's seat. There were some wins here by Argentina, but I think as of the moment, right, their big problem is either Steffi or maybe even Joel Crew that is already, you can feel the gold lead on this Claude that has almost, yeah, complete items as well. Malefic Roar, Demon Hunter Sword, and Golden Staff, all the core items for the Claude that can pretty much wreak havoc here, even up against Hide Bush and Arctic that has built this Arla to be quite tanky. So now here's the biggest question: how will Peru move forward here? Because Argentina pretty much is going in groups as of the moment because they don't know where Steffi is, they don't know where Joel Crew is, and 60 seconds before the next Lord is up. So I think for Argentina, they should at least try to contest this one if they want to be able to push forward because there's no inhibitors left for the side.
And I get what you mean. It's actually super scary now that there are no turrets available to see Steffi. He can actually do a lot of crazy stuff. It is now the Natalia's playground all over the map just because no one can see through the invisibility. And now we'll have to find out if that's going to be a big factor in terms of team fighting as we do see Argentina slowly creeping up on the Lord area. Although again, all eyes will be on Hay whether or not this Melissa can survive the onslaught that is going to be Peru later on, and of course Steffi on the back foot. Always going to have to keep your eyes peeled for that Natalia as well if you're Argentina.
Steffi's just so proactive there, right? Like always looking for blood, either on Hay or Meteoro. And it's just for Meteoro as well. Like it's not just Hay that built in this dreadnought armor. Take a look at the items here of Meteoro. There's also a dreadnought armor, and just really giving the respect here to the damage dealers of Peru, right? And there goes Dragon once again with the penalty zone, just zoning away the members of Argentina half HP. And for Peru, right? They know this is the way to seal the deal up against Argentina. Put in more lore to get in some pressure, but once again, we're seeing the with the trencher play being made here by Arla DD.
Oh!
There is the shutdown, but at the same time, Steffi as well gets caught up there with the needles of Hay. This is massive for Argentina. They will force out the team fight here, forcing the members of Peru to back away as the Lord is still up. 1v1 duel as well by Arctic and Joel Crew, but fortunate enough for the Argentinian team, they are still alive. Two crucial pickoffs, the mid laner and the rover down. They can start up this Lord because they have the numbers advantage here.
This is actually massive. It is a 3v5 all around the map right now, and Dragon and Quinn not really the scariest heroes if you think about it. If you have an Akai on your lineup, all those in melee trying to get into range for the retribution, and that's not going to be allowed here right now. It's
Oh!
still going to be Quinn. No way. He still gets it.
I love how he popped in the decimation at that point. It just looks like he was saying, "Did you see what I did there? Did you see what I did there? I clicked the retribution on time." I think so far since the retribution, this guy has been so on point, which is kind of why you see Argentina was like, "Okay, you have to zone Quinn away. You have to zone him away because once he gets near this Lord, he can just actually take it from himself." There's like two or three massive steals in this entire game, and now Argentina once again back to the drawing board. They got to take down this Lord before the rest of the team is going to be up and kicking. Look at the damage there from Joel Cruz. Claude is proving to be deadly. And now Quinn as well, going 1v1, going for another one here. Doesn't have the decimation just yet, but the Lord is still up. Luminous Lord for the side of Peru. Will this be our first best out of three that we'll be having a game number three as the Lord is knocking in on the base? It looks like we have a game as Peru will take this game number two.
Yeah, we did see for a moment there was a small shining light there for for Argentina when we saw them go on a 3v5, right? But no, it was not enough to slow down or phase what Peru was throwing out there. And big props to Quinn and Dragon and for keeping that in check. I mean, normally a team who fights 3v5 would normally be at a big disadvantage, but somehow, yeah, with just good communication and basically good macro mechanics and timing, I don't know how Quinn survived that, but he did, and he stole that Lord, and that was very crucial coming in here for Peru.
Yeah, I mean, that was like he was so brave at that point. Like there was like 3 or 4v1 situation up against him, right? And he's like, "No, I gotta take this Lord. I have to take it for us." And they know for a fact that if they took that luminous Lord, it was big for Peru to push forward, and that was one of their biggest problems. Like they really couldn't reach. The backlines, they couldn't really go straight to the base there of Argentina because there was the feathered airstrike from the Farsa, but at the same time, like when they found that opening, when they got in that lore, that was just really big for the side of Peru. And at the same time, there's a lot of pressure as well. Like aside from Quinn, props as well to Steffi as well as Dragon that did a very good job taking out the backlines of Argentina. So I think Rockhart, for the record, this is the first time that we're going to be seeing a BO3 that we're going to game number three.
Yeah, and I would say I don't mind because right now both of these teams are proving that they've got some grit about them. Right, they've got some of that X factor that we always look for in teams. It's such a close game, and I have to agree. This is some definitely one of the games that we are definitely we see some of these teams really show off their power. And there's a very specific power play that we see here from Peru, but we'll see that later on as we head into the replays. Interesting lineup here. The Natalia pick really was the big difference maker here for Peru. If the Natalia was maybe a different hero, maybe it would have been a different way where Peru would have gained control of the map because Argentina really, even with the Natalia, Argentina actually held on pretty tight.
Yeah, it just forced out a lot of things from Argentina too, right? Like a Hay and Meteoro were both forced to build defense items, and at the same time for Argentina, right? That's big because these are the damage dealers that are forced to pick up anti-cuirasses, forced to pick up dreadnought armors to counter out the damage. And as you can see in all the Lord fights, right, there were some takes here by Argentina, but at the same time, what really made a difference here, Rockhart, was just the backline access that Peru had with the Natalia, and even Dragon's penalty zone was always almost on point here.
That's true. Everything was basically exactly the way you wanted to be in on Argentina's side. I think this game was actually best case scenario for them. For if you're talking about the lineup, because normally this lineup from Peru is really, really difficult to deal with, especially with the Natalia. But somehow Argentina were able to keep it really, really close up until the
Mhm.
very end of the game. I mean, how do you even survive as a Melissa? I actually saw the Melissa get a solo kill on the Natalia for one of those moments, right? So it goes to show that Argentina knows how to deal with Natalia. It just so happens that I love what Peru did. They really maximized, they really leveraged their win condition here, where everyone was just in panic mode when you don't see Steffi on the map, and they made good use of that.
Plus, it was a big factor too, right? That Peru was able to get in the early game with Kin, picking up like a killing spree actually early on. So that was really big. It really disrupted the rotations that Argentina wanted to do. Plus, Steffi really just looking for targets all across the map. But I think for the most part, this entire game was just in that last Lord take. This one, like the one that Quinn stole, it was just enough to create so much pressure, and at the same time, it was a luminous lord, so it was really difficult to defend. All the members of Peru can actually just go all the way in. Plus, Joel Crew was already online at that time, so it's really, really hard to go up against a Quads Blazing Duet, and they sealed the deal, giving us our very first BO3 with a game number three.
Yeah, right now I'm actually a little surprised that actually that game was as close as it was. So, a big props to both of these teams for giving us a really good fight. and I would expect no less from some of the best here. They really did reach the very end of what I would expect from these teams. So right now, I want to see more flexibility maybe on the draft because that Matilda, not sure if that was the best pick, right? I would love to see something else come out of here in terms of roaming, maybe something more solid, something that will definitely give a what do you call that? If that was something that would definitely give a Natalia or a Martis a hard time. A Franco would have been great to suppress the Mortal Coil, maybe. So that's something that maybe Argentina make as a change because if they did do that, if you did not let Quinn play at that game with a non-stop bloody hunt, maybe it would have been a different outcome. Although in that game, even though there was an Akai, it was you saw right. Even with the Akai pick, it was so difficult to actually stop Quinn. I mean, Haydon Bush was trying so hard. I saw it on the replay. He tried really, really hard to stop the Martis, but it was so difficult. Uh, just with if you only have like just one skill that can slow down the Martis, which is of course the heavy spin.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's not just Steffi. I do have to say that we didn't really see much of Joel Crew, right, at that part, at that point. But when it reached the late game, wherein all the items were already full for Joel Crew, even like a stack of Art of Thievery was too much to handle for Haidon Bush. So yeah, the Matilda pick was actually it's good for the sustain, but it really doesn't give that much vision, right? Like I think I think maybe if they wanted to go for a support like a Rafaela Estes, these supports can actually give vision in the bushes, which is actually something that Argentina really struggled with. They really didn't know where Steffi was. They didn't know what the next move. Actually, even if they did know, it's hard, right? Like it's hard to go up against this lineup that is just very deadly front to back. Like if they force out those team fights, there's Natalia. If not, there is the Martis, and there's also at the same time Dragon popping in that penalty zone. So I'm not so sure if the Uranus was actually quite a good choice there for game number two. So we're heading over to game number three. Let's head over to the drafting phase, and Argentina on the blue side this time. They take out the Eve here. I'm not so sure, Rockhart, if there's going to be a maybe perhaps a respect ban. Are they going to pull off another Natalia? Not unless Argentina wants to take that away.
I think we will see. I don't think they should overreact on the Natalia though. It was a good pick, but it wasn't like the destructive pick that we kind of expect normally from Natalia's. Argentina has proven that they can actually juggle out against the Natalia. Maybe something else to be banned out. Maybe try to remove out the Valentina for once, because they have a feeling it might get the first pick here again. So I don't know if that's something that's on the mind of Peru here, but they definitely still have to do some housekeeping bans here. You have to think about that Wan still. Um, yeah, definitely something you have to consider. Although I'm not sure, maybe Argentina can kind of just remove a comfort hero, maybe remove the Claude from Joel Crew, which has shown up 2 for 2 so far in the two games. So
Yeah, he looks to be really confident and really comfortable with that hero. So maybe that could be an option here for Argentina. Leave open the Valentina since they are on the blue side. They can pick this up first. And as for Peru, right, they took away the Faramis in game number two. I think that's also a key factor on why Argentina was able to have that lead. Valentina Faramis, very aggressive. But instead, yeah, they take away the Valentina this time. Will they actually leave open the Faramis? We haven't seen the graph just yet for this round, so it was more of the burst damage for Argentina in that game. So last two bans here for both sides. I think in terms of the meta here, the Arlot is still open, the Faramis is still open for the taking as well as the one.
yeah, interestingly enough, I'm sure that Peru will be forced to ban out the Wan here. But other than that, what's gonna be the pick? What's gonna be the ban here? I would really love to see a focus ban here on the Claude, but no, it's still gonna be left open here coming into game number three. Banning out the Faramis instead. I don't mind it at all because the Faramis also is a really, really strong pick here on the row.
Now it is just for Peru, right? If they don't ban away this one, this could be a prio pick for the side of Argentina. Not unless they know that they can deal with that. Peru, they love going for the Claude. Sometimes, you know, what teams do is like, okay, they see that the player is comfortable with the Claude, maybe just steal it away. But I'm not so sure about the Claude as the first pick. So now Peru right now. Biggest question is, what do they want to leave open here for Argentina to take? They have the prior pick, are a lot. Glue is still open. And speaking of comfortable heroes, Hay has been um, proving to be very good with this Melissa as well. So they take it away, and now Rockhart, there is a lot of things to consider here. Arlot, glue, open for both sides to take.
Huh. Interesting. So this is going to
One, one,
be a
two.
great glue. One's open, yeah. So I would love to see a glue first pick, but yeah, with the 1 pick, I don't mind it if Argentina actually picks
Mhm.
that up. And there it is. You also have to think about the glue here for Peru, since again, no Faramis available means you can basically do whatever the heck you want on the map, and there's very little that the opposition can do to stop that. I mean, what else are you gonna control a glue with if the Faramis is out, right?
Yeah, and no high ground mages as well here. Looking at the 1-1, traditionally, I'd see Diggy pressuring out the 1-1, like pair the Diggy up with a marksman. I wouldn't be surprised if the Claude will be picked up here, but wow, speaking of the high ground mages, Peru secures themselves this Farsa as well, so pretty good first two picks here for Peru. They got a solid XP later and solid AoE for their side, but they also pick up the Kaja here that was banned away in the first two games here for Argentina. Great amount of vision as well with the Ring of Order. So you know, if in case that Peru wants to pull off that Natalia pick once again, I mean, could be deadly as well for the one, especially in the early stages. Maybe they want to pick up the Martis here for Argentina. I mean, it seems like that was also one of the keys that made Peru win game number two.
All right. I mean, we'll have to think about that coming this one.
Oh.
All right, I saw this band out earlier, but I didn't think it was going to be as much of an impact. But the
Mhm.
Lunox getting picked up here for Meteoro on the mid lane. That's a very interesting niche pick here.
Yeah, we don't really see a lot of Lunox. I mean, I've seen a Lunox in the gold lane, not so much on the mid lane. I think it's just to give a lot more flexibility here for Argentina. Like I was expecting, like maybe a Kadita to take control of the Farsa. Even the Kagra is still pretty much a solid pick. But Meteoro is one of those players that knows how to position well. And I was just talking about the Natalia that can be a problem for the one. They pick it up once again, but now here's the thing, right? There's a lot more vision that they have right now for the side of Argentina. Kaja, maybe perhaps like two more tanky picks here for their side. So they take away the Martis here for Peru. Claude, and there you go. Finally, they take it away, forcing Joel Crew to actually pick up something different this time.
Hmm. All right, so this is interesting. Finally, they do that. I mean, they should have done it earlier. To be honest, they kind of risked it getting picked out here on the second phase. But you know what? Better late than never, I would say, for especially for a strong lane in the gold. You could actually ban out the Beatrix and or a Kimmy maybe. I don't know why a Kimmy hasn't made an appearance yet here,
Ooh,
but
spot
yeah, that's
on.
something to make sure that Hay has a strong lane here, right? It's you just want to make sure that he succeeds. And if Hay goes nonstop, he snowballs out that gold lane. You know what? Even Steffi will have a hard time catching up on this one.
Yeah, now is it going to be? I mean, we've seen Quinn on a Bane. The Fredrin actually is still pretty much a solid pick in the jungle. I'm not so sure though about the Lunox here and the Wanman. It's going to be hard to pull that off. Will they pick up something in terms of like a fighter type of jungler? But yeah, they pick up the carry here. Not so sure how that will fare against a Wanwan though.
Yeah, I'm not sure, right? Normally, I mean, from experience, I would say that that's a very difficult lane for the carry. You're gonna have to rely so much on your team to make it out of the laning phase. But you know what? I don't mind it. It's still a pretty good. I would still say pretty good pickup. You can try to fight The way that the carry's gonna live here or gonna make a play is if it fights not on the lane but on other lanes. You don't want to fight the 1-1 head on. If you do try to fight that head on, you're actually gonna have a very bad time. So yeah, there's gonna be another niche pick there coming out. It is
Mhm,
the Masha. So good times for everyone here so far. And Fight on Bush going for a more stable Frederick.
mhm. Yeah, the main problem for the Fredrin though is going to be the carry here of Joel Crew. But again, if they can make Hay win his lane, right? That should be good for the side of Argentina. And now Peru hovering over their possible options here. For the side, Hayabusa actually a good choice up against the 1-1. Not really so sure up against the Luno, so they have to think it through what they want to go for, and they're gonna go for the standard tanky type of jungler, and still the no, it's actually Peru with the Akai this time. So I like it front to back for the side of Peru. And as for Argentina, right, this is a 1-1 for the first time in our qualifiers. Let's see how Hay will be able to pull this off, because so far we've only seen like a Melissa, we've seen a carry on Hay, but this is going to be the first time that the 1-1 is left open for them to take.
I mean, when I saw the Wildman open, I was thinking, is this a trap? Are they getting
Mhm.
trapped right now? Because normally you'd want to leave a Wildman open if you have a viable counter to it. But I didn't see that here in this draft, Burger Kim. I'm not so sure about this, and I'm not even sure if the carry is the right pick to do it. So we'll have to wait and see what happens here, because this is gonna be I mean, they still stick with the Natalia pick, right? So there's still some sort of threat, but even the Natalia pick right now is just so hard to fight. So let's watch what's going to happen here as we go into game number 3 for this best of 3 between Argentina and Peru.
And now, if you think about it, Rockhart, in game number two, there was just a lot of pressure that Peru did up against Argentina in game number one, doing those invades. And actually, they're doing it once again, forcing Fer to recall back to the base. A lot of damage was taken, and care of the high and dry emblem here of Steffi. So that's something that they have to watch out for as well. A lot of vision being given here by the roamer of Peru. And now, if they're able to survive the onslaught here, for the early game, they should be fine, right? And now Arctic as well, being the target here, doesn't have that much items yet to be able to sustain that. So you can kind of understand why Peru is really doing their very best to pressure. My only problem here for the one of the side of Argentina is there's really not that much answer. Maybe the split of the glue, Steffi's Natalia, and maybe even the heavy spin. But other than that, if Hay is able to scale up pretty well, this should be a very very deadly pick up against Peru.
Yeah, absolutely. Although right now it does seem like Argentina, at least for the meantime, not able to maximize the lineup as of yet. And there's a good reason, right? The Masha also kind of needs some time before that does activate and hide on Bush. Can't really fight immediately. He also has the damage is just not there yet. And the Lunok's such a late game hero. So as you can see, they can't even take down the Akai yet with a lot of these skills already used up. Now it's gonna be the counter engage coming in from Peru. First blood going over to Steffi here. Although there is some fight happening right now for Argentina, but it looks like they are getting pushed back hard here. As Arctic does go on the side, gets a little bit of a Steffi on the fallback. Nice drive by there from Argentina, but it's still going to be a 400 goal lead for Peru.
I like that clap back there by Arctic. He just went in for the revenge kill onto Steffi, which is really the major problem here for the side of Argentina. And while all of that is happening, once again, it is Peru picking up all those objectives one by one. Now there is Hide on Bush, Meteoro, first one to fall, heavy spin onto Hide on Bush, forced to retribution out of that one, and now it is Kid being punished here, as well as Dragon getting dragged
Whoa.
in with the Divine Judgment, able to survive, and a double kill picked up by Arctic at this point, and at the same time, a lot of gold plating as well here on the top side. This is something Joel Crew needs very well.
So the advantages that the Arctic actually created on mid were basically nullified when they gave away all of that outer turret energy shield on the top side for Peru. So interesting macro plays being done here by Peru. Is even though they did lose out on some of these fights, they're still looking good in terms of the gold.
This is Arctic on a attack speed boots actually, which kind of explains the damage that he has been making. And now Steffi gonna get taunted there. It's taken down there by Hay. A nice heavy spin by Kid there, taking down Hay. Double kill for Joel Korean. This is what Peru wants. This is exactly what they want. A lot of pressure on the Hay, and now Joel Crew to one more kill away from getting a killing spree. And the tower on the top side as well might fall, but Kin once again punished there for overextending under the tower. And now that is Argentina just stopping the bleeding here up against Peru here on the top side.
Yeah, we're actually seeing a lot of aggression coming in from Peru, maximizing the heavy spin so that the Wan Wan can actually fly and rush these items. So that's an interesting way to deal with the Wan Wan. It's basically an indirect counter. Having the Akai on your lineup, Hey just cannot catch a break here on the Wan Wan.
Yeah, plus Meteoro here doesn't have the items just yet, so um, he isn't able to dish out that much of damage just yet. And now Hide on Bush gonna be able to secure in that turtle, and now Arctic Swell might get punished here. There's the shutdown by Kin. Another kill picked up here by Peru as the members here of Argentina forced to back away. They're gonna try to do the best that they can. There's Divine Judgment and the flicker out by Holiday, but it gets taken down there by Meteoro. Killing spree for Joel Crew, and now Hey gonna try to pop in that crossbow of Tang. Not active as of the moment. And there's a lot of flickers used there by Peru, but at the same time, it is still pretty much good for Argentina. They got the upper hand here for K. Was able to shut down a few heroes, but Joel Crew, as of the moment, 5 minutes in, this is a good thing for the carry, right? I mean, usually it's really hard to go against a 1-1, but Peru really made it possible here for Joel Crew.
Yeah, that is true. Carry Joel Crew right now standing at 3-0-1. This is actually a pretty good score line. And don't forget, you also got all of the outer turret energy shield from the top side earlier on. So you can see that reflected on the items. 1,000 gold separates the two gold laners in this game.
The Divine Judgment as well of Fur is actually on time, but there's just a lot of flickers here for the side of Peru. So right after the Divine Judgment, if there's no instant burst there on the side of Argentina, they should be able to back away from the possible death that they might have with the Divine Judgment. And Hey as well. I'm not so sure what items that he has as of the moment, but you have to give it to Joel Crew here that has the upper hand, has the most gold here for Peru. So that's something that Argentina has to consider as well in this game. Like they have to stop Joel to at least get a shutdown onto him. But as of the moment, Arctic, right? It's a good thing that he's doing well in the XP lane. If not, that would have been a different story for Argentina. Meteoro unable to get anything as of the moment. There is no lightning truncheon, and here is the last turtle of the game. There's Tug by Dragon, and now Hide on Bush forced to soak up the damage here up against Kid. Here comes Steffi. Meteoro really low on health, and there's the heavy spin on to Arctic. There's a lot of HP bars there. Not gonna be so easy for you guys to take down. And now they're going to focus their eyes once again here on the turtle. Half HP. I'm not so sure if Steffi will try to make the pickoffs there. Those are very tanky heroes, but no steal for you this time, Quinn. It's going to be Hide on Bush picking up that last turtle of the game.
That's Argentina with a big buff. Getting the turtle. This could enable them to get a tower, maybe. Right now, it is proving to be very difficult to push for the Argentinian squad, as we do see them making an initiation on the mid side of the map here. Steffi actually quite low. Hide on Bush could be in trouble as well. Joel Crew really shredding it out on that carry. They will be forced to go back into their turret. Steffi still looking for a target here on the backside. There are two very crunchy targets. Will not be taken for the meantime. Steffi playing it a lot more safer, but also giving away some gold to the Wan Wan on the top side of the map.
Wow, I mean, Steffi just sidestepped in, clicked that execute and was able to take down for I haven't seen just so much divine judgment yet on the right target. And now hide on bush. Ken is really low here. Gonna get taunted there. But again, Joel Crew. Look at the speedy light
Oh,
wheel. Mega kill for the gold laner of Peru. And this is again proving to, smash all of our doubts earlier on, saying that the carry will be having a difficult time. Proper props actually to the members here of Peru that really gave the space here for Joel Crew and now Hey as well. They're moving towards this bottom side. They want to get this tower in. Let's see if they can. 3K gold lead for Peru, and now Argentina is looking to actually take some of that back. There's the crossbow tang onto Harley BD. Not for long though. They should be able to take this tower, and now Hey gonna get punished there by Steffi. They should back away from this one. Arctic does not have the HP bars. Heavily punished here by Peru for the next one. There's no way to go except for the flicker. And that's going to be two targets picked up by Peru. What does Argentina need to do here? Like it seems like every time they find an opening or they find something to equalize their goal, it seems like Peru it always has answers to all these plays that they've been making.
I think the biggest play is to just basically take out Steph at first, but
Mhm.
there's just no way to do that, right? It's so impossible to find out Natalia. That's the reason why Argentina, despite having some really strong heroes, can't really make a good set yet because of all the doubts being given to them by having a Natalia on the enemy team. It's so difficult to actually push out. Even Hey having a difficult time proccing that crossbow of Tang in fear of just being silenced and pushed back against the wall, as you can see right there. Still going non-stop right now. Of course, they will be giving over that kill, but they will trade it up with a turret take on the bottom side of the map. Lord still pushing up on top side. Finally, Arctic making a punishing move here for Steffi, but okay, Steph is going to be tanky enough to at least sustain that.
Okay, this Joel Crew hasn't been shut down just yet, so this is really big for Peru. Once Joel Crew is able to pop in the speedy light wheel, there is no escape from that. The chuck in the towers here. Second tiers are going down here for Argentina, plus the backline damage that they have. Look at the damage to the Federer strike there of Carly BB. There's a lot to consider here for Argentina before they actually, position themselves in team fights. And I still have to wait for this Lunox of Meteoro that hasn't had that much impact just yet up against Peru.
And there's also a reason why a lot of other pro players in the world just don't really prioritize Lunox anymore. It just takes so many items to make Lunox really powerful, and you have survivability with the brilliance. But other than that, if your darkening is on cooldown, you don't really have that big burst of damage, right? Which is the reason why
Mhm.
again Lunox just falling off of favor for most mid laners right now. Although again, Argentina is still trying to make it work, right? They still have a lot of supplementary firepower in terms of Arctic as well as Hay, but one of those are going to go down. Arctic falls down without a fight right now, and it is a 4v5 for 30 seconds. Although no Lord to take here for Peru, still looking really grim on the blue side.
This is it, right? It seems like this is the answer to all the main damage that Argentina has, and still Joel Crew able to free hit everyone. Idon Bush doing the best that he can to tank up the damage, but there's Dragon with the tug back in. He falls though. Idon Bush as well. Benedict strike is up, and that's three members down instantly after that clash. Still no one to take down Joel Cruz at the moment. That's just wrecking havoc up against the members here of Argentina. Almost a 10k lead here for Joel Cruz. That's 2k up against Hayes. So that's really massive. They haven't shut him down. I haven't seen any divine judgments just yet. I mean, think about it, Rockhart. There's just so many heroes here that can pick off Joel Crew, but his positioning is just impeccable here in this game. 12 minutes in. Look at how fast he's chucking down the Lord, and that is going to be Peru taking it for themselves. Luminous Lord is up, so at least the second tier towers should fall here for the side of Argentina.
I mean, I kind of agree. I feel like the reason why I think one of the biggest reasons why Hay can also can't move, we're forgetting about the Farsa, right? It's just also very difficult to move as a marksman in general if you're up against an artillery mage like the Farsa. And there's also a reason why people just can't dive onto Joel Crew. There's always Harley Davy on the back, which, you try to dive onto Joel Crew, you got feathered airstrikes raining down on you. Not to mention, you're also getting shredded by the spinning light wheels from that carry. So I kind of understand how Argentina is just having a hard time engaging, and it's only going to become more difficult as time goes by. So I hope they make a play here somehow so they can stabilize on the map.
There's a lot of the immortalities. That's the immortality up for Joel Cruz, so it's not gonna be easy to take him down in any clash. Look at how fast he is down in the maps. One attack there from Steffi. And now the Lord here marching for the side of Peru. They're gonna try their best to end this one, but they cannot overcommit. So towers, inhibitors as well for Peru. They're gonna try to take this one down before Hay is up. And this is just proving to be very, very deadly. Heavy spin and Joel Cruz attack speed here. Very, very deadly. Plus the feathered airstrike of Harley DD. Steffi goes all the way in. Still unstoppable at this point. And now Meteoro unable to do anything as Peru locking in the base, getting that reverse sweep on Argentina.
Man, if there was any team to do it, it was going to be Peru. They pull off the reverse sweep against Argentina 1-2. And that is just one way to go out. That was beautifully done there. And again, this was despite the Wan being given over to the Argentinian squad here. It was an impressive way to play here from Peru.
It seems to be like that's the kryptonite, right? Natalia being picked up twice really made it difficult for the side of Argentina. Plus the fact that the Joel crew was actually able to scale up pretty well in that fight was just it was too much to handle for the side of Argentina. And eventually, Peru was able to find their groove. Right, game number 2, momentum was theirs, and they were able to continue it here in game number 3, despite the fact that Joel Crew actually switched up the hero, right? So I mean, imagine that, like picking up the carry, something completely new. So I think for Argentina, right, it was they started out really strong, but as for Peru, right, all these pocket picks, all these heroes that they brought out in the second and third game proved to be something that Argentina couldn't answer to.
It was so difficult to answer just because normally the way that you would answer a carry pick is to just catch it by surprise, to make sure that you can dive on it before you get shredded to bits. And we didn't see much of that, although Arctic was a Masha. Even as a Masha, I think it's so difficult to fight a carry just because of the shredding damage. It was, even if you had high HP, the carry was going to be able to go straight through to you. And we saw that in so many times here. Again, Meteoro not really the long range mage that you normally want to deal with against a Farsa. Imagine the hard time that Meteoro had in that one as a Lunox. It did not feel like an easy time for them.
Plus, I think the combo as well of the heavy spin and the combination of the carry, all the heavy spins that Kin did in this particular round is just really difficult for Argentina to move. There's a lot of damage, plus Dragon as well with the split, right? Like, if I mean, he got taken down there, but it didn't really matter as long as his teammates were able to pick up the kill. It is just it's still a win for them, despite the fact that there were several punishes that were made here in the early game. But it's still, actually, I thought that would have been an opening for Argentina, but after that, right, Joel Crew, the man of game number 3, is just proving to be something that Argentina couldn't deal with in the I think in early to late game. They really couldn't deal with Joel Crew in this particular match.
Yeah, and I think the biggest factor in that one is their lack of range as well. Again, this would have been a great time for Novaria to shine, to maybe pick off a carry, but we didn't see that here. It was instead a Lunox. Kaja also had a hard time just picking off individual members here, just because there was always like a heavy spin to counter out the Divine Judgment. There was always a very difficult target to take here which is the carry. So I don't blame the lack of like big plays coming in from the Kaja. So big props to them for at least making sure that's alive in the draft.
If you think about it, right, for Joel Crew, there's just a lot of heroes that can pick him off in this match. Props to the feathered airstrike here of Harley Didi. He's also quite untouchable in this round. A lot of assists on the Farsa, and the slows that it can give with the Curse of Crow and the feathered airstrike is just, especially for heroes like Hydon Bush and Arctic, you can't really access the back line as much. And if ever they do, we completely forgot about Dragon that will actually just pop in that split, drag them all the way back in, and again, difficult to reach the back lines here of Peru.
Yeah, definitely. At this point, you have to really consider who was actually going to be the primary target. It was so difficult for Argentina to actually make a priority target. Everyone was a priority target here to take out. You can take out Joel Crew. You have to choose one, and everyone was just so difficult to kill, which is a reason why Peru's lineup was just so resilient against Argentina's draft here. So, big props to Peru. They really gave us a showing here in this game, and I can't wait to see more of this team in the upcoming slots of our tournament.
Right, and we'll see more of them in the next few days, though. I think for Peru, they just pulled off such a massive surprise, especially up against Argentina, that came in, of course, for the first 2 days strong. They started out with a clean sweep up against. No, Brazil was able to clean sweep them in the first day. They were able to get their groove day number two. And here, unfortunately, they fell short up against the side of Peru, which I'm looking forward to seeing more. I think this is for everyone here. This is the first time that we're actually seeing them play. So really, props to them for pulling this off. So it's really not easy to pull off a reverse sweep, especially since your opponent already got in the momentum for game number one.
Yeah, and for the rest of the teams that are watching right now for the Americas qualifiers, this is a very classic way to deal with the Wan Wan. It goes to show that you don't always need to ban it out. There are ways to deal with it. We did see that as long as you have the proper targeting, as long as you have the ways to keep your other gold laner alive. I mean, there are ways to kind of stop the destruction of Wan Wan. Even though, again, I we did see a little bit of a focus banning there in game number three against Joel Crew, but as you can see, still very much flourished there. I think most of that was a big props to Quinn as well on the Akai. I would say
Mhm.
that the Akai was the big difference maker in the draft here for Peru, just because he was able to stop a Kaja, was able to stop a Frederian, and it was also not really punished by the Wan Wan as well. So yeah, overall, the MVP definitely in if we're talking about stats, that's definitely Joel Crew, right? But
Mhm.
I would say Quinn also did a very good job in making sure that that Peru had good control of the map.
MVP, none other than yeah, it's gonna be Peru. The MVP. I think this is definitely Joel Cruz stats, if I'm not mistaken. So, lots of gold damage, not that much, but that's a very good KDA, 2.57 for Peru.
Yeah, and I would say it was very well deserved. I think Peru just had to really try to m- macro it out. I think yeah, it's okay. So I think that's the meantime. I think we will have to just consider what we're up against here. If you're Argentina, they I guess they weren't really super prepared with the Akai pick. That Akai pick actually threw me off as well. I was not really expecting it to really shine as much as it did. But you know what, Burger Kim, it did the job, and Peru were able to really maximize it. So overall, a big props to the team. And again, I wonder if that's gonna be their last because I can see them being very flexible even in the gold lane here. So I expect more from this team, and I cannot wait to see them in the upcoming matches. I think they're definitely a strong contender here for qualifying as a qualifying team here for the IESF.
You know what's really fun about this particular qualifier, Rockhart, is that I got to see, well, we got to see like a lot of heroes, right? You talked about flexibility. So I was so happy to see these other heroes that don't really get that much spotlight in other regions or maybe other major tournaments. But they were able to flourish. They were able to shine here in this America's qualifiers, which is just exactly the reason why you have to watch our next few days as well here for IESF.
Yeah, so a big props to them, and I guess that's gonna be it for us here at the IESF WEC qualifiers for the Americas region day number 3. We hope you had fun. You guys take care, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow as well for our upcoming matches. I'm Rockhart, this is Burger Kim. That's gonna be it for us. See you guys later.
Bye bye.